Okay, I'm going to go ahead and record the process for testing Docebo from two perspectives. The first is a Facing History admin who would go ahead and set up the learning plan in Docebo, and then the corresponding event in Facing History, and then log out totally. And then the second test scenario is as an end user. So we'll start with the admin experience. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay. So to start, we're going to go ahead and visit the Docebo sandbox. You can see the administrative setup in the test scenario document. So we're going to go to the sandbox. I'm going to utilize 1Password, and there are people on the Facing History side of things that have access to this. I believe Erin does, and I know that April does as well. So this is a secure way that we store login credentials. I'm going to go ahead and take the admin credentials for the Docebo sandbox. And log in. I'm going to navigate to Learning Plans and Manage. Now remember that courses are no longer what we're using to sync with the Facing History environment. We're using Learning Plans. For the purposes of this demo, I'm going to take this master copy of Teaching Mockingbird, and I recognize that this already exists within Facing History, but it's a good way to quickly run through this. See here, if you hover over Enroll Users, at the very bottom of the screen, this, went away. It shows users ID equals 4 in the little URL bar at the bottom left. And so I know that the learning plan ID is 4 here. So I'm just going to remember that. So what I would do from the Facing History side, if I'm creating a new learning plan, is to go through the process and get whatever the number is, and remember that as I set up the corresponding event in Facing History. For these purposes, 4, and when I log into Docebo, I should be registered for Teaching Mockingbird master copy. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to pretend that I've set up this new learning plan. I've got my user ID, and I'm going to log out as an admin because my work as an admin is done on the Docebo side of things. Now on the Facing History side of things, I need to log in as an admin. And I'm going to go ahead and create an event that will sync to the Docebo learning plan that I just set up. So again, for these purposes, I know that Windows and Mirrors already exists, and that's the one we're going to use, but I want to show you how you would create a new event. You're going to go to Content, Add Content, Event with Program Fees. You're going to make sure that you select Educator as the audience. Course type can be whatever you want. We're going to make it online seminar. This is important. Application needs to be none. You want to approve for publish here. And then the last piece of this that's super important is that you select unpaid event under registration type. And we'll scroll down to the bottom and you'll see this Docebo Learning Plan ID. And in this case, I would put 4 because I want it to sync to that Teaching Mockingbird learning plan. Then you would hit save. Okay. So once you save, being mindful that I'm still logged in as an admin, I'm going to go to Manage Registrations, Settings, and I'm going to enable registrations for this event. And for some reason that just reloaded, so I want to make sure. Okay, I'm going to enable registrations. Capacity is 0. Sorry, capacity is 0 because that is no limit. You have more context than I do here, but essentially, like, this would limit how many spaces somebody could register for at once. You want to configure who the email is going to be sent from when somebody gets a confirmation or a reminder, and then you're going to save your settings. At this point, you're going to log out because your work as an admin is done. I don't want to confuse the system because I just set this up and I associated it with a learning plan that already exists. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove the learning plan because we are going to utilize Mockingbird, which is already in existence. Actually, I'm going to leave it because we really want to see that this works. Okay. So at this point, I'm logging out. I have created the event as a Docebo admin. I've created the event as an admin in Facing History. So at this point, I'm done. I'm going to remember the path of my event because this would be something that was sent out to educators or a teacher would share or I would stumble upon as an educator on the site. So I'm going to pretend that I got sent this event. Why is this not working? Did I publish it? Hold on 1 second. Oh, it's not published. Remember to publish your event. Apologies. Otherwise, you won't be able to see it when you log out. Okay. Now I am going to copy the URL. I know it's published. I'm going to double check that registrations are enabled. I'm going to go back to the event and make sure that the application is none. So there's an existing weird thing in the system that you all have been working around, but remember that after you save the event, you need to, and then enable registrations, you have to go back and revert the application type to none. Okay. Now I'm going to save. Okay, so I'm logging out. Okay, so I'm going back. Now that I've published my event, I can see it. Again, notice that I'm not logged in. This would be an educator visiting the site. Somebody, they've either found this event through the calendar or somebody sent them the URL. It says to log in or register for this event. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. And I'm going to log in as a different account that doesn't have admin credentials. Okay, I'm going to register for myself. And I think that this account actually does have extra permissions, so you wouldn't see this. You would just see save registration. I'm going to register. You can see right now that the email is configured with a link to the sandbox. So we recommend customizing this course registration complete language to make sure that you're redirecting people back to their Docebo sandbox. That's going to be their source of truth for the course moving forward. So it informs the user that they should bookmark the page. I'm going to go ahead at this point and click to visit Docebo. Now, once we enable this on the live site, when you click to visit Docebo, it will have a Facing History login screen, and it's going to be confusing for the person the very first time they visit Docebo. They'll have to re-enter their Facing History credentials, but after that, every time they see Docebo, it will just be the Facing History screen, and they can use the same set every time. So for right now, I'm not going to put any info and username or password, because keep in mind that this is just going to be the Facing History screen. And when I'm leaving direct from the Facing History site, it will open it. But right now I'm provisioning my user in Docebo. And you can see it's logged me in. And that I am now registered for teaching Mockingbird Master Copy. So that was the user ID 4. So everything worked, and it's synced, and it's on my dashboard. So this is the Docebo workflow. Again, 2 separate scenarios, right? You've got your admin setup at the beginning, which is setting up the learning plan in Docebo. And then you have the corresponding event on the Facing History site that you need to log in as an admin to configure. Once that's done and you log out of everything, you can test it from an end user experience by visiting the URL of the event that you've created, either creating a brand new user or logging in as a user that is not your admin password, and going through the registration process and then clicking that SSO button, and it will take you to your Docebo dashboard. So in the future, if I'm this educator, I'm going to save my Docebo dashboard link, and that's going to be where I go. And when I get there and I go to log in, it's going to be a Facing History screen. So they're going to have the experience of feeling like everything is via the Facing History login, even though it really is an integrated system. So I'm going to cut and paste this video into the Docebo test scenarios. I hope that it's helpful. We can run through it again together if need be, and let me know if you have any questions.